quiet during the night. So what happens is that you're out there at sea and you're looking at the stars and you're plotting a course according to the map. And you got to know where the star is. So you're looking at the degree of the circle. It's 360 degrees. And you're going to head toward that star. And you also have to know the angle of it, because that tells you what distance you are away from the equator, or whatever latitude you're traveling. So you've got longitude, latitude, you've got degrees in the sky. That's called declination. Okay, now I've proven my point. Now that if any of the intelligent, scientific-minded people are still listening this far in to Mystery, 6.5 minutes in, you will hear my hypothesis based on observation. I am right now in a place on the Earth that is not at the tropic. I am north of the tropic. Okay? So I'm talking about the Tropic of Cancer. I'm in the northern hemisphere, and I'm in the Western world, the Western hemisphere. So I am telling you I am north of the Tropic of Cancer. So again, if you've still been listening and you got half a brain, you will know that I could be describing my location in the United States or Canada. Now, I'm telling you I'm further south of that. So I am closer to the Tropic of Cancer, but I am still pretty far from it. Really pretty far from it. So now what I'm going to tell you, and I'm just reminding you of the scientific fact, the Tropic of Cancer is the furthest north that the sun can appear to be at the zenith. That means directly overhead, over the top, the very top of your head. And if you use a plumb bob, that's a carpentry term, and I do a lot of that kind of work. And you can see that in my videos. 5 years ago, I used to do all that carpentry stuff. A plumb bob is a basic instrument that shows you which is directly down. It's used for alignment. You use it in conjunction with a level. This is another skill that's very important. Back to the old-fashioned ways, back to the land. So by using a plumb bob, you can make a line and see it will point. If you get to the bottom of it and you align that with another tool, you erect this directly straight up, like this is what they use for building or obelisks or whatever. You would follow underneath. You would look up the instrument and looking directly to the point that is at a zenith. That's how you know. Okay, I can recreate this anywhere that I go. It's very simple. Then, from knowing where is directly the point above from where you are, you can see how close the sun is to that 90 degrees point, because that would be called 90 degrees. The horizon is 0 degrees. Okay, this is another point. If you got half a brain, you know what I'm talking about. So, unless you're at the Tropic of Cancer, on the first day of Cancer, which is in June, is toward the end of June, that's when summer starts. It's also known as the summer solstice. But unless you're at the Tropic of Cancer, that latitude, you're not going to see the sun directly overhead. Okay? Now we're still in the month of May. We're 1 month away from summer solstice. Okay? So being that I'm north of the Tropic of Cancer, quite a bit, quite a few hundred miles, and being that it's a month away from it, and that's 1/12 of the year. So based on the movement of the sun 3 months above the equator, then 3 months trailing back to it during that part of the year, that's 6 months. This is only 1/6. So 1/6 of the movement of the sun as it's going north of the equator by apparent motion. 1/6 of it. That's a long time. So if it moves, just give a rough, if it moves 10 degrees by movement over the circle, if it moves 10 degrees, 1/6 of that. So that's a few degrees. That's a few degrees that it would be off if it's not quite summer solstice yet. That's a few degrees. And then you got to measure a few degrees away, because it would never get to 90 degrees because you're not at the Tropic of Cancer. So this is like this is 5, 6, 7 degrees. But what I'm seeing is that it's so close to zenith that it's within 1 or 2 degrees of zenith right now where I am. You see? If this is actually happening, then that means the rotation of the Earth has tilted or shifted, whatever term you want to use, whatever layman's term. It has moved 3 to 4 degrees away. Okay, now follow me here. Follow this. I am making an approximation, but the theory still stays the same. The theory is that, from my observations, the sun is not where it's supposed to be. And then as I see it going down, it's setting extremely to the northwest. Extremely. And we're not even in the summer yet. And I've been seeing this since I was looking at this in April. And I was calculating this, every other day because I'm busy. I do a lot of other subjects. But this keeps coming back. This is like really important. That I got to figure out if this pole shift is happening. Because if I keep watching this and it continues to shift, because it's got to go in the direction that it's going. Because if it's shifting that way, that means the planet at the North Pole has to be shifting us in a certain direction away. And you don't know if it's shifting away towards Canada, if it's shifting away toward Europe, shifting away toward Siberia. So there's many different directions it could shift. But my guess is that it's not shifting toward Alaska or Siberia. My guess is shifting somewhere the North Pole, possibly more towards where Moscow is, either to the east or the west of that. So that the pole is going, if it's going that way, from where I am, it would make sense that it's showing that the sun is coming down way to the northwest. Okay, so in conclusion, this is what I've been saying, is that the sun is way too high. That means that the equator has shifted to the north. The equator of the Earth and the western hemisphere has shifted to the north. Okay, and what I'm seeing on the eastern side of the Pacific, where I am, this the west coast area, is that what I'm seeing is that the sun sets too far to the north. Okay, so because if the equator shifts to the north, it's going to make the setting sun appear also further to the north and the west, instead of setting mostly to the west. It's way to the north and northwest. I'm exaggerating now, but I think it's 3 to 4 degrees off. So that's enough to be able to observe it. See, if it only shifted 1 degree away, I really wouldn't be saying anything, because I couldn't really tell. I would be like, yeah, 1 degree, I can't really see it with the naked eye. But now that it's about, looks like 3 to 4 degrees away. Now look, I could be wrong. I'm not using any exact instrumentation. I know that. I'm admitting to that. I also admit to the fact that I travel a lot, so my geography could slightly be off because I have not made the observations year after year after year. Then that would make it easier. I would have made a video much sooner if I was a guy that lived in the same place for 10 years, which a lot of you are. And why you're not making the video, I don't know. Maybe it's not happening. But here's the question, now that you've listened so long. If you have been in the same place, can you go out and make an observation? Would you please just do that sometime in the sunrise? That would be great. Or how about at the sunset? Would you go outside, or just at least look out a window if like a south-facing direction, and tell me, make a comment. Is the sun setting where you think it should be setting, or is it off? And if you're in the Western Hemisphere, the United States mostly, are you seeing it go off too much to the north? That's all I'm asking. And if you don't know, you can also say that too. That's nothing against you. I just want to see that the fact that the majority of people out there wouldn't know by observation. You don't know what to look for. You don't know what would be off. This is not going to be the last video about this. I'm going to either debunk myself or I'm going to tell you, listen, something is up. This is definitely going on. I don't care who's not talking about it, mainstream media or the government. I don't care. I'm talking about it.